Well, it's 23 degrees in the shade here. The ice cream sellers are doing a roaring trade and the supporters are working on their suntans. It must be the Munster Hurling Championship. Waterford against Clare, live from the Gaelic grounds in Limerick on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, here's how the teams match up. Brennan from Tulla in goal for Clare. Across that full back line, it'll be Jerry O'Grady, Frank Lohan and Dara Clancy, with John Milan, Seamus Prendergast and Owen McGrath in the Waterford full forward line. Clare's half-back line of Brendan Bugler, Conor Plunkett and Pat Donnellan, faced by Dan Shanahan, Gary Hurney and Stephen Malumphey. The midfield battle pits Brian O'Connell and Colin Lynch against Dave Bennett and Michael Brick Walsh. While in the half-forward line for Clare, Diarmuid McMahon, Tony Griffin and Jonathan Clancy. Waterford have picked Tony Browne, Declan Prendergast and Jack Kennedy, but Nicky, you don't think they'll start there?
You know, always with Waterford, you know, Justin likes to change things around. I wouldn't be. I think Brian Phelan will definitely play in the Waterford half-back line.
And inside, Niall Gilligan, Tony Carmody and Mark Flaherty, while in Waterford's full back line, Brian Phelan, Kevin Moran and Aidan Kearney. And in goal for Waterford, it's Clinton Hennessy. As we pause for the national anthem, our own Navean. What a beautiful rendition of the national anthem by the St. Patrick's Band from Tulla and County Clare. We're here at the home of Limerick football and hurling, but today taken over by Clare and Waterford. And Nicky, you said in all your years coming to the Gaelic grounds, you've never seen it looking as well as it is today. Yeah, the pitch is in absolutely fantastic shape. We walked across it, it really looks beautiful. And I see Declan Prendergast has gone back to left corner back there, Mike. Well, the pitch has been closed here for 4 weeks to get ready for this match. Match referee Dickie Murphy from the Rapparees Club in Wexford throws the slither in. The game is on, let the battle commence, and the Munster Championship is up and running. It'll be Waterford defending the city end in this first half, and an early touch for Declan Prendergast under pressure. And so much pressure that Clare have the ball now. In from Jonathan Clancy from way out the country. Out to the right and wide. Clancy buzzing around that half-forward line. But as we expected, Nicky, switches all over the field, particularly from Waterford. Yeah, Brian Phelan, you know, he was expected, I think, to be in the half-back line. He's too good a player to be back cornerback. He's playing centre-back. Declan Prendergast has gone back left cornerback, and Aidan Kearney has switched from left corner over to right cornerback. Up front, Seamus Prendergast has come out right half forward, and Dan Shanahan is actually playing centre forward. The puck out from Clinton Hennessy, deep into the Clare half, scooped up by Owen McGrath. Pop back outside towards Bennett, striking off his left-hand side. Well away and out to the right. An ambitious shot from Dave Bennett. We've had a wide at either end. Yeah, I think Owen McGrath would have been better off to turn and have a shot himself there, Mike. He surprised Dave Bennett with the pass. But it's a slow start, really, to the game. Both sides yet to settle down, and two relatively easy chances missed. Philip Brennan's puck out, huge one. It'll drop on top of Conor Plunkett. Broken away, first man to react, a Waterford man. Dave Bennett again. Shanahan moving in underneath it. And hurled away by Brendan Bugler. Testing ball for the Waterford full back line. Picked up again by Prendergast, under pressure from Niall Gilligan. Forced onto his left. Lovely touch. The Waterford supporters like that as John Milan jumps alongside Seamus Prendergast. It's end-to-end stuff in these first 2 minutes. The shot from way out the field from Bennett. It's on its way and it's over the bar. Well, Bennett's been involved a couple of times already. He struck that sweetly and over it flew.
Yeah, nice score from Dave Bennett, get him into the game, Mike. And you know, he's a great player around the midfield. He picks up a lot of ball, but great skill by Tony Browne, who controlled the ball on the far side. Just showing again the great player that Tony Browne is. Great first touch.
Waterford playing with the aid of the wind in this first half. It's blowing from the city end, and it's at Waterford's back. Without so many of their established players today, none of them among the substitutes either. Racing out to the corner goes Seamus Prendergast. Back to Moran. What a score from John Moran. The setup from Gary Hurney, who switched inside, and Moran, well, when he was celebrating that score, it seems, he agitated one of the Clare defenders, but Waterford lead by 2. And here it is again.
Great score by John Moran. You know, John Moran is a player who operates on confidence and a streak player, and you know, certainly last year, I don't think he ever reached the heights that he can. And you know, when he gets a start like that, there's plenty of room here in front of him. Seamus Prendergast has moved right out, and there's a lot of room there in front of the Waterford full forward line and John Moran in particular here on this side, and that's a great score.
Waterford 2 points in front, as up to try and win that ball goes Tony Carmody. Diarmuid McMahon cleared away by Jack Kennedy. Fiercely contested, and Jonathan Clancy just sweeping in behind the midfield to Bugler. Plenty of distance, but well away to the left and wide. That's 2 wides for Clare, but you can see they're trying to isolate Niall Gilligan inside. As here we can see again, Nicky, what exactly happened.
Yeah, just a little bit more handbags than anything else. John Moran is he likes to celebrate those scores when he gets them.
Here's Moran again. Gary Hurney making his debut for Waterford today, loses out to Colin Lynch, the man for the big occasion. Back to cover is Aidan Kearney. Does well into the space in front of Owen McGrath. Flicked on towards Milan. It might break for McGrath again. He's through and tripped. Free in, says Dickie Murphy. Well, the first real sign of Waterford opening their shoulders, and McGrath cut down.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I suppose he was lucky to get it. John Moran missed the touch, and you know, Owen McGrath was straight through. He had to be taken down. Really, he was well in on goal. But I think Clare will be disappointed with their start, Mike, in the first 5 minutes. They look, you know, they're a bit slow to the play and slow to the game, and but they don't need to let Waterford get away too far on them here.
So in the absence of recognised free takers, Owen Kelly and Paul Flynn, Dave Bennett stands up and pops that over the bar. Waterford have made a flying start. Well, despite some speculation during the week, big crowd here at the Gaelic grounds, particularly from Waterford, and they like what they've seen so far. Good take, great hand. But Clare again under pressure, finding it hard to clear their lines. This is Conor Plunkett, bottled up. Terrific work by Shanahan and Prendergast, but Bugler in to clear up the danger. Dropping it in towards Tony Griffin. Good defending by Jack Kennedy. Well, Jack Kennedy has started well at left half back. As out to look at this sideline cut comes Tony Carmody. Back in the Clare team again this season. Niall Gilligan just trying to get it under control. Nice pick-up, trying to hold off Kearney into the centre. Dave Bennett. And Waterford, calm and composed. Tony Browne drives it in towards the attack. Pulled on first time by Plunkett, but good covering by Dara Clancy. Outside to Colin Lynch, the apprentice to the master. Dangerous ball, runs all the way through. Griffin, and that's over the bar. It's taken Clare 7 minutes to open their account. It comes from Tony Griffin, and they're up and running.
Yeah, Mike, they'll be happy with that, and they needed that score. And in the last couple of balls that have come up here, their half-back line, Brendan Bugler in particular, you know, he's cleared a few balls, and they're getting into it.
Clinton Hennessy this time dropping it over towards Gary Hurney. Well, John Milan almost had that under control.
I think, Mike, that's the frustrating thing about John Milan at times. You know, he really is in motion and gone before he controls the ball, and sometimes his first touch lets him down. And there again, it was a good chance he was away if he had to control the ball.
Well, Colin Lynch and Seamus Prendergast are squaring up to one another. And Dickie Murphy, a veteran of 4 All-Ireland finals back in the 90s, is having his work cut out. Fresh air puck from Pat Donnellan, but at the second attempt finds his man, Clancy. Cut out by Tony Browne, hurler of the year 10 years ago, and still going strong. He threw the ball without the hurl. Free to Clare. Browne protesting that he had the hurl in his hand, I do believe.
Play was continuing on up the other side. They were having great fun up here at this end, Mike, but it's clearly a free in for Tony Browne. Dropped the hurley, and good pressure from Mark Flaherty. And this is it's not an easy free for Mark Flaherty to start on. Normally as a free taker you'd like to get a handy one to start off and the first of the day, but this guy's form and free taking in the league was very, very, very good, and if he gets this one, it'll be a good start for him.
So Mark Flaherty on his championship debut for Clare, their top scorer in the National Hurling League. This a difficult one to start with in your first match in the Munster Championship. Seems to have struck it well. It never wavered. It's back to a one-point game, and that'll settle the nerves of Mark Flaherty. Yeah,
good strike, and he's an unorthodox way of lining up. He was lined up well right at the post, but a very smooth and easy strike.
Clinton Hennessy now firmly established as Waterford's goalkeeper. No clean possession. Stephen Malumphey is in there. Plenty of Clare backs though. And Dickie Murphy felt there was a pull across the hand of a Clare man. Conor Plunkett from Clare Castle just surveying his options. The Gaelic grounds bathed in beautiful sunshine. Again, a testing ball in on top of that Waterford full back line. Gathered inside by Carmody, trying to turn. Jack Kennedy, quickest to react to the breaking ball. Under pressure.
Yeah, great catch by Gilligan, and you know, he's moved in full forward there, and you know, good defence. They blocked him down well because he had a good chance. But Clare have really got into this game the last few minutes.
Sideline cut to be taken by Brian O'Connell, the Clare captain. Drops it in again, looking for Gilligan. Pulled on by Jack Kennedy, but the pressure only momentarily cleared, it seems. In there rooting for it is Brendan Bugler and Pat Donnellan. And eventually Waterford, well, almost had it under control. Very scrappy, and Clare have possession. Into the corner, looking for Carmody, who's made a run to the wing. Support inside if he can spot it. He goes for his own score. That's a wonderful score from Tony Carmody. We're level after 11.5 minutes, and Carmody with great confidence and over the bar.
Best score of the game so far, Mike, and you know, he showed Tony Carmody's great strength. You know, he just bounced off of the Waterford defenders, and from an awkward angle, that was a very good score.
Another huge puck out from Hennessy. Malumphey manages to get it through to Hurney. Gary Hurney on his championship debut, dropping it in towards Shanahan. flicked away by Conor Plunkett. First man to the break is Owen McGrath. Milan had it and dropped it again. And cleared by Dara Clancy for Clare. Down, right through it goes towards Niall Gilligan. Off his left-hand side. It's close, but not quite close enough. In fact, the umpire's given the score. Well, from up here, that looked like it had drifted wide, and Nicky, you're not so sure.
Yeah, it looked pretty tight from up here, but the umpire seemed to be pretty sure. We might see it here again. Hard to actually tell from that, but it was, Waterford haven't scored there for the last 5-6 minutes, and they have, they're up front here particularly. They're getting a couple of chances with their first touches, and they're failing them.
Waterford now without a score for 7 minutes as Clare have found their rhythm. They've gone in front. Here's Dan Shanahan. But again, he was under pressure. The Waterford backline working so hard. And Dan Shanahan, who's missed a lot of hurling in recent weeks with a knee injury, just taking a little bit of time to find his stride.
There was a chance there just a few minutes ago where typical Dan Shanahan, he had ghosted into the full forward line, and Conor Plunkett got a very, very good interception to get it away from him.
Again, no clean possession. Scooped up by Jack Kennedy. Tony Griffin just getting the hurl in the way, and that was just enough. It's fallen back to Bugler, and that's over the bar as well. Brendan Bugler up from wing back to fire Clare into a 2-point lead, and they've taken complete control.
Yeah, and Waterford, whatever breeze is there, Waterford have it in this first half, and Clare took a little bit of time to settle down, but their half-back line of particularly Brendan Bugler, who's playing a very good game, and Conor Plunkett, they've got on top, and Waterford aren't able to win any clean possession down at this end.
Great hand from Brendan Bugler to take that ball down, and Clare have opened up a 2-point lead. They've also hit the last 5 points on the run. And as you can see, that's on less possession than Waterford have had. Extremely economical in front of goal.
Yeah, this is Dave Bennett has a line ball here now. He's, again, a lot of experts in line balls, and Dave Bennett is very good.
Goes short, takes the return, but it wasn't delivered the way he would have liked. Manages to slip the tackle, though, of Lynch and O'Connell. He's found John Milan. A little bit of space for Milan, and he hits the target. Well, Waterford had to work hard for that score.
Yeah, again, the key to John Milan is just his first touch. Once he gets the ball, once he wins possession, he's absolutely lethal forward. And again, no doubt when he gets a chance like that off his left, particularly, he likes to shoot.
Well, that's Waterford's first score for 10 minutes, and they needed it badly. Low ball this time, dealt with by Conor Plunkett. Covering across is Pat Donnellan, looking very confident on his first day out in the championship. In over the top. Here's a chance for Flaherty. He's got it. Brilliant goal from Mark Flaherty. What a finish from the corner forward. Now we've got a game in our hands. Clare have gone 4 points up, and they've had a dream start.
Yeah, it was, he did very well to rise it. Declan Prendergast was still favoured to get to the ball, and he didn't. But down here at this end again, Conor Plunkett, and Pat Donnellan, they cleared that ball very easily. It seemed, Dan Shannon to me seemed very lethargic trying to follow Pat Donnellan, and I wouldn't be surprised if Waterford will make a change maybe and try Gary Hurney out around the half-forward line, because certainly at the moment they're not winning enough possession. But a great finish by Mark Flaherty.
Well, the two-man full forward line of Mark Flaherty and Niall Gilligan have been causing Waterford a lot of problems, and Mark Flaherty, well, he epitomises that economy of effort that Clare have shown, Nicky, in the first quarter here. Yeah,
it was a good finish, Mike, because Declan Prendergast still had a chance to get a swing at it. I'm not sure that Declan Prendergast will be too happy. He was a bit slow with the pull, but Mark Flaherty really, one good touch and he had the ball in his hand, and very good finish, very clean finish. He looks an impressive player, Mark Flaherty.
Well, the Clare supporters who have made the short journey here to the Gaelic grounds, they're enjoying this first 17 minutes. Now Dan Shanahan Good take. Again, though, Conor Plunkett is his shadow. Owen McGrath looking for a little bit of space. Missed by Seamus Prendergast. Referee says play away. Now John Milan sneaks a look at the posts. Liked what he saw, and that's over the bar. Well, Milan, with 3 points, has been leading the Waterford attack almost on his own, and he's keeping them in the game.
Yeah, he is. John Milan is, you know, he scored those 3 points. He took his chances very, very well. You know, he's really the only threat they have there at the moment. There don't seem to be anywhere else that they can get scores from. You know, Dan Shanahan did catch that one, but he was blocked down by Conor Plunkett. Maybe Dan might have had a free there, to be honest. But, you know, it's a struggle for Waterford up at this end at the moment.
Well, Clare have just switched their corner backs. Jerry O'Grady from Crusheen has been moved across now to pick up Milan. Dara Clancy given a breather. Declan Prendergast from Ardmore. He was looking for Mullumphy, but well cut out. And now Colin Lynch, the heartbeat of this Clare team. Very ambitious ball, though, and one back by Mullumphy. This is Seamus Prendergast winding up. Struck it well. And Waterford have hit 2 on the bounce. Prendergast getting too much time and space, and he made it look easy.
Yeah, very bad mistake by Colin Lynch. It was really an ambitious, you know, an over-ambitious pass there, and he could have just... They're doing so well in their full forward, and I think the more ball Clare can get in there quicker, the better.
Diarmuid McMahon just switching the point of attack. Aidan Kearney, he did really well to get that ball under control. Back to Kevin Moran, under pressure. But slowly but surely Waterford cleared the danger. Milan goes tumbling, and Dickie Murphy says play away again. He's a referee who likes to let the game flow. This is Gary Hurney. Milan is inside if he can spot him. The pass over hit though, might fall for Milan again. Tries to sneak it through. And Clare living on their nerves, but they're getting that little rub of the green in this first half so far. Colin Lynch, fine block by Dave Bennett. He was in Lynch's face there, didn't give him an inch, and this match has got off to a roaring start, Nicky.
Yeah, it's picked up, and Jerry O'Grady, and you know, he felt Gary Hurney's strength there, and it was a chance. Moran did well. It was very tight angle. He would have done very well to score. He nearly did.
Aidan Kearney, his second season for Waterford, but hurling like a veteran back there. Again looking for Shanahan, well read by Jerry O'Grady. Spots a bit of space on the far side, but Brian O'Connell beaten by Michael Brick Walsh. Inside to Mullumphy. Oh, that's a wonderful score from Stephen Mullumphy. The first time he's got into a scoring position, and it's back to a 1-point game.
Yeah, and a greater spread of scores. Stephen Mullumphy and Seamus Prendergast Joseph popped over points, just as I was after saying that they were finding it hard, struggling to score up here. And first time you see Michael Brick Walsh coming in there as well.
So Waterford have hit a purple patch now, and it's really that goal from Mark Flaherty that's keeping Clare's noses in front. Here they come again. Gilligan on a mazy run, just lost control of it, flicked away and into the arms of Seamus Prendergast. He'll let the Schlitter do the work. Dan Shanahan. Now Owen McGrath buzzing around that attack, over his shoulder. Terrific score from Owen McGrath. Level again, and that is as good a score as we'll see all day.
Yeah, and importantly, after the Clare goal, Waterford have come back and they've scored 4 points. Dara Clancy seems to be under a bit of pressure. He was switched off John Milan, and now Owen McGrath has popped over a point there. Good pass by Shanahan.
We're level for the second time in the first half, and Owen McGrath, who's normally known as an impact sub, well, he's made quite an impact today, on from the start. Philip Brennan's puck out is aimed towards Tony Carmody. Last touched a Waterford man. Well, Clare, who haven't won a game in the Munster Championship since 2003, have started this match in whirlwind fashion. And Waterford really feeling the absence of the likes of Owen Murphy And I suppose in particular Ken McGrath, their defence looking a little vulnerable. Diarmuid McMahon from way out the field, across the face of the goal and wide. But Clare playing with such confidence today, Nicky. A shoot on sight policy right across their attack.
Yeah, and importantly as well, Mike, they're working very hard up there in the forwards. A real, you know, sign of the Mike McNamara team, and a testament to the work ethic of Mike McNamara. You know, that was Waterford's ball to Clare, and Clare put the pressure, and ultimately the ball went wide, but they had a lot of pressure and they got a shot on goal.
Here's Owen McGrath again, causing plenty of problems for the Clare full back line. Ball breaks towards John Milan. This is Gary Hurney, and Hurney over his shoulder and over the bar. Well, last weekend he was captaining the Waterford footballers in the Munster Championship. Not a bad hurler either.
No, he's an interesting recruit for Waterford now, and again in typical Waterford style, he's a huge man and very strong, as Jerry O'Grady found out there not too long ago. But it's a good score, and he's been doing well in all the play that he's been involved in so far.
That's 5 points in a row now for Waterford, and it's enough to put them back in front. Great hand by Tony Browne. He really is an incredible hurler. 35 years of age this year. His 43rd championship appearance. Dave Bennett has come back to take this free. Hit 12 points in a challenge game a couple of weeks ago against Kilkenny. Fancies his chances here. That is an incredible score from Dave Bennett. With the breeze at his back, he nudges Waterford 2 points clear. And what a score. Yeah,
I think Dave Bennett is a very reliable free taker, and I was surprised that he didn't get more game time last year for Waterford. And I think, you know, Owen Kelly normally takes the frees, but I think Dave Bennett is a much more reliable free taker, and you know, that's very clean strike there from well inside his own half.
3 points for Dave Bennett. And this first half has flown by. Diarmuid McMahon to respond for Clare, and he does just that. They needed that score just to stop the rot. And they remain on the coattails of Waterford. And it's not the first time he's had a shot, Nicky, and this time caught it well.
Yeah, big man, and won the ball well, and you know, good score. And as you say, Clare needed that.
Waterford turned defence into attack in the blink of an eye, and Milan, he is on fire, linking up with Prendergast yet again. And it looks like Waterford have targeted that left-hand side of the Clare defence that Clare were worried about, and Milan is wreaking havoc.
Yeah, great catch by Seamus Prendergast, and you know, once John Milan gets the ball in his hand, it's his 4th point, and you know, his speed, and once he gets it particularly on his left-hand side, he's very accurate.
4 points for John Milan, and Waterford open up a bit of daylight. Tony Carmody showing great strength, but in the end Waterford had the numbers. Colin Lynch outside to Jonathan Clancy. Where's he been? Didn't strike it cleanly. Well, when Clare go direct, they look dangerous. They've shot 4 wides now, 2 from Jonathan Clancy.
And that one, Mike, was a particularly easy chance. You know, he'd be very disappointed with that one. His first one, okay, was early in the game, but that one was a very good chance. Only 40 metres out. He should have easily scored that one.
Clinton Hennessy again dropping it down towards Seamus Prendergast. Superb take. Held onto it as well, but coughed up and away by Brendan Bugler. Moving in underneath it is Diarmuid McMahon. Took it in his stride, and off his left-hand side just throws it over the bar. We have a 1-point game again, and McMahon, who switched wings there, lost his man and took care of business.
Yeah, 2 good scores by Diarmuid McMahon. He's actually playing centre forward on Brian Phelan there now, and it was a mix-up between Declan Prendergast and Brian Phelan that the ball broke to McMahon, but very good score, and you know, Clare are staying in it, and you must remember that Waterford have whatever breeze is there.
Well, 5 of Clare's 6 forwards have scored now, as we have a stoppage as Seamus Prendergast receives some attention, and Mike McNamara, he'll be quite pleased, Nicky, after 27 minutes.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think this game is going to go down to the wire. There's, you know, at some stages there's a lot of poor first touches and you know, a lot of rucks developing, and it really hasn't absolutely caught fire yet. But you know, I think Waterford aren't going to be able to pull away the way they're playing. They haven't, except for the one chance or half chance that John Mullane got. Waterford really haven't threatened the Clare goal, whereas, you know, Clare have had a couple of little opportunities. Gilligan was hooked, and then obviously the goal from Mark Flaherty. So, you know, Clare are well in there.
So Clinton Hennessy's puck out gets us underway again. Waterford just down to 14 men for the moment as Seamus Prendergast fixes his footwear. Here's Diarmuid McMahon. Nice pick up. His confidence is high, and that's over the bar. 3 in a row for Diarmuid McMahon. Each one better than the last. Clare are level again for the 3rd time in the match.
Yeah, he's drifting off of Brian Phelan there. He's moved out around midfield and picking up that couple of handy loose balls there. And I'd say Darragh Clancy would be delighted too. A good catch by him and a chance for him to get into the game.
Ball picked off the ground by Gary Hurney. He just couldn't resist the temptation. Standing at 6'5" in his stocking feet. Hurls with Abbey side. A dual player, but being kept under wraps today by none other than Frank Lohan. Here's Philip Brennan, man who won a club championship medal last year with Tulla and Clare. Easy for Diarmuid McMahon. Spots Lynch. Lynch has time to steady himself, and that's over the bar. And Clinton Hennessy absolutely furious with the marking. Clare lead thanks to Colin Lynch.
Yeah, old times for Colin Lynch, you know, very accurate player, great striker and a great hurler. But again, the trouble for Waterford is coming with Diarmuid McMahon up the centre there, and Brian Phelan is standing a long ways off him.
Great take by Seamus Prendergast, but again under pressure, and Clare have won the ball back. Scooped up by Flaherty. Lovely score by Mark Flaherty. Well, he just tends to pop up now and then in the right place at the right time, and Clare go 2 points clear.
Yeah, Mark Flaherty has impressed me all through. I suppose Waterford, Seamus Prendergast at this end could have been a bit disappointed that he didn't get a free. He was claiming that the hurley was pulled out of his hand there, and he passed it away to Colin Lynch. But Clare all the time, you know, very dangerous.
Well, this game ebbing and flowing from end to end, and at this moment it's Clare who have the initiative. That's Waterford's 3rd wide. Seamus Prendergast, who's getting through an awful lot of work and has had to battle through the pain barrier to play here today, suffering with a nasty shoulder injury. Yeah, but there's something missing, Nicky, about Waterford at times in this first half.
Yeah, it's strange because the game is going in phases, really. You have, you know, Clare got the goal, and then Waterford came on top and they scored 4 or 5 points. And there's a certain laziness about Waterford. You know, they took the foot off the pedal, and then now Clare have come back and hit the last 4 points as well.
Brian O'Connell has played it in, but the linesman is flagging on the far side. Spotted by Dickie Murphy. Brian O'Connell, it seems, had carried that ball out over the line. And Clare, despite having less possession, have managed to work themselves into a 2-point lead. There you can see the eagle-eyed linesman.
I think Mikey was very eagle-eyed. It was tight enough looking at that picture.
Pat Green making the calls on that far side today. Waterford gifting possession back to Clare, and Brian O'Connell just off target. Well, that would have been ironic. O'Connell, the man who gave away that sideline ball, almost making Waterford pay.
It's interesting on the stats, Mike, because even though Waterford have more possession, like Clare have had more shooting chances, and I don't know whether it's the heat or the sun, but Waterford seem to be just lazy a bit.
Gary Hurney going out the field to try and get on the ball, but he's in the team really to win ball and create chances for others, and that time just found himself isolated. Waterford, of course, this year bidding to win their 4th Munster championship in 7 seasons. Great take by Brian Phelan. Stephen Malumphey runs into heavy traffic. Has to go back to Phelan again. But Clare are working so hard that they've got the ball back again. The shot from Pat Donnellan, dangerous ball. And the umpire signals a 65. Well, just about anything could have happened there as Niall Gilligan moved in front of Clinton Hennessy. And I think Waterford will be pretty relieved to have escaped with a 65.
Yeah, Niall Gilligan, you know, he got his hand to it. He had a chance, and I suppose Clinton Hennessy did well just to scoop it away for a 65. But again, it's all again coming from Clare working very hard there around midfield. Dermot McMahon and Brian O'Connell, and you know, like Waterford are under pressure here.
So Mark Flaherty comes out to have a look at the goalposts, plays his club hurling with Killanena. And a big day for him and a big day for his club. The breeze seems to have died down a little, but it is blowing into his face. And practice makes perfect. And Mark Flaherty showing nerves of steel. Clare now 3 in front.
Yeah, goal and 3 points for Mark Flaherty. But you know, his style, he's a very, very natural free taker and very comfortable over the ball. And you know, there's not much can go wrong with that stroke.
So we're into the final 90 seconds of normal time at the end of this first half. Pat Donnellan driving down the field, eating up the ground. The pass was poor though, behind Colin Lynch. That allows Michael Brick Walsh in. The tackles though are flying in thick and fast. And now it's Clare and Brian O'Connell bottled up, but he's won his free. But players on both sides, Nicky, out around the middle of the field there, they haven't got time to think.
Yeah, and you know, look, you can see that the heat there. Dan Shanahan was following Pat Donnellan there, and he was struggling actually.
Conor Plunkett trying his luck, and that's over the bar. Well, Conor Plunkett could be one of many candidates for man of the match. To vote, text for Clare, Team A, a space, the number of the player; for Waterford, Team B, a space, and a number of the player. Text 57000. Lines close at 3 o'clock. Michael Haverty has his mind made up. He felt that last touch to Waterford player, John Milan, not so sure.
See, Colin Lynch has a wry smile on his face anyway, Mike. I think Colin Lynch would be happy enough with that decision, because I think he definitely touched it out. But you know, Clare have got themselves into a nice position. They're 4 points in front. We're coming up to half time. They've scored the last 6 points in a row, and you know, Waterford are going to have to dig deep to get out of this.
Well, we'll have at least 3 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. Brendan Bugler from Whitegate manages to find Lynch, and Bugler gets a second chance deep into the Waterford half. Tony Browne sweeping across, looking for Malumphey, gathers it under pressure. Loose man outside, good vision from Malumphey, and Dave Bennett fouled. And this will present Bennett with a chance to narrow the gap. It really is a perfect day for a free taker. Slight breeze, beautiful conditions. Bennett again makes it look very easy. That's their first score for over 10 minutes. And they needed it badly. It's back to 3 points. And it really is worth his weight in gold, Dave Bennett. Yeah,
very, very, very reliable free taker. You know, Waterford need another score really if they can get themselves into half-time on a bit of an up. You know, they haven't they've died off a lot. You know, the last 10 minutes they haven't been scoring at all really up for that point.
Niall Gilligan doing his best to get that Schlither up into his arms, but Dickie Murphy decides enough is enough. Seems to have blown up a little early. Clare won't be complaining. They go to the dressing rooms with a 3-point lead and with a spring in their step.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike McMahon will be much the happier manager at half-time. Justin needs to get the Waterford guys in, and they need certainly to work harder.
So at half-time, Waterford have plenty to talk about. Clare lead 112 to 12 points. Do join us after the break for half-time analysis.